Thank Okay, thank you so much for joining me today. Okay, so happy 4th to those of you who are in the States. So let's just start. So let's do a little bit of the big picture and then kind of come down a little to the month of July. So 2025 has been known for a long time as being a very pivot point in the course of humanity. So why is that? Because we have all the outer planets, Pluto, Uranus, Neptune, Saturn, and Jupiter moving into new signs. And in the course of an 18-month period. And new signs, because these outer planets have really long cycles. I mean, Pluto is like 240 some odd years. Saturn is every 28 years, so that is kind of the shorter one. These planets, when they move into a new sign, it's really pretty substantial. We feel it in our lives. And these outer planets, because they take so long to move, they really kind of set the tone for a generation. So they set the tone for a particular generation and also like major global events. And if you're interested in kind of learning about that, you could go back and there's literature that goes back, thousands of years to these different transits, astrological configurations in the sky and what occurred. So we're not going to get into that too deeply today, but I just want to say that that is kind of setting the stage for 2025 is all these planets moving into a new sign. Hey, Bethany. Hey, Marley.
Hello.
So, so that is like setting the stage for this year. And just in particular, this month, we have actually on Monday, the 7th, Uranus is moving into the planet of Gemini. So it is actually the last of the outer planets moving into a brand new sign. Now, all of these planets, except for Jupiter, just put Jupiter aside for a moment, all these other outer planets went from Earth and water signs, which tend to be slower energy, to fire and air signs, which, as you can imagine, is very,
Oh,
very dynamic and fast, bringing a lot of energy into our lives. So, what we're seeing out on the world stage is this kind of dredging up lower consciousness emotion, lower consciousness, or the subconscious that has been suppressed for so many years and decades and centuries and millennia. All this refuse is coming up to be able to see it and release it. And if any of you have listened to astrologers, this will be not new news to you. This is something we've been collectively going through, but it's a necessary stage of our evolution as humans, and we are in this really evolutionary stage that we've chosen as humanity, as souls, to go directly through this garbage dump because it is the quickest way through it. We could have chosen to kind of walk on the edges and tap into this, but it would have taken a much longer period of time. So I like to, I guess this kind of comforts me in a way that we've chosen this path to move through this energy as quickly as possible. But that means more opportunities for overwhelm because there's just so much. So, as always, and in a few minutes I'll get to it because I do have a lot to go over, but I'll get to, you know, I mean, it all comes back to inner peace and stillness. But let's 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 go back to this kind of dredging up all this energy. Now, we're in this 3D reality that many of us, hey, perfect sanctuary, thank you for coming. We are in this period of time where our physical reality is all many of us acknowledge. The majority of humanity only witnesses what is physically, tangibly here. But some of us recognize much more than that. And obviously the people joining me here, you're in that group. You recognize that the majority of our reality is unseen, like 95%. And even science shows this. Physics shows that, hey, thank you for joining me. De Broglie 8. The majority of science in physics actually proves that what we can actually see physically is like 5%, roughly, right, of our reality, and the rest is unseen. So we know that there's this matrix of energy that we're living in, we're breathing in, we're digesting, that is unseen. So it is so important. Hi, wild nature, Linda. Yay. Um, there is that reality that we are immersed in that is unseen. So there's all these different dimensions of reality. So I had a vision just the other night. Actually, it was last night of our heads being pulled up by this force. And it was a really visceral, like I could feel it, like we cannot stop this force pulling us up. And what that represents to me is being pulled up to this higher dimension. And it's unstoppable. Either we fight it or we allow it to take us up. I kind of think about, when you ride a roller coaster and you strap yourself in, you kind of get this fear and stuff. And you're at the top, right? You finally get to the top of that hill, and then you're going to experience this dip. Do you tense up, which I tend to do, right? Tense our body in preparation for this dip, or do we allow our bodies to relax into it? And there is so much more joy of experience when we relax into it. So we have that choice. Do we want to tense up, or do we want to kind of surrender and go to the flow? So, hello, Sea Ocean 5. Thank you for joining us. So I kind of feel like we're in this period of surrendering to the flow. And surrender can be a loaded term for some people because the word surrender may sound like just allowing everything to happen and not being engaged and just kind of just stepping back from the world. But there's an active engagement with true surrender. And there's kind of a fine line between that. So I'm just looking at my notes here because I think I'm going all over the place. There's so much. So Uranus moving into Gemini on Monday. It's a 7-year period of its influence in our life. And it's going to be here for the next 7 years, as I just said, but it will actually move back into Taurus where it was. Now, when Uranus was in Taurus, it's not a sign it's happy with, because Uranus is all about breakthroughs and lightning fast decision making, and it's a very exciting energy. It can also be, on the flip side, very jarring and um, can blindside us. But when it's in the sign of Taurus, which is Earth, it's not happy. It feels kind of confined. So its energy isn't able to move. It's not supported by the sign. So Uranus, Taurus is really very much about status quo, keeping the status quo. So it's interesting because it's been in Taurus this whole year. And I don't know about you, but I don't feel like things have been status quo. I don't think things have been slowed down. Things have been moving really rapidly out there. And it's because of all those other outer planets that moved into fire and air already that have been speeding things up. But Uranus moving into Gemini, basically, we haven't seen anything yet. We talk about fast moving energy, things hitting us left and right. It's going to be even more so. You might feel like, oh my gosh, Maureen, what are you talking about? I'm overwhelmed as it is. But just realize that this energy isn't just for the negative, it's for the good. So fast moving things is not just about the lower consciousness, it's also about the higher consciousness. In fact, I feel like my dreams and visions over these last few months are really showing the magic of our reality. It's opening up the realms, and that's what Uranus does. Uranus is also the great awakener. So it's really opening us up to possibilities and the recognition of this divine plan that's behind everything. So we're going to notice this next week, Uranus, when it enters a sign, it shows itself immediately. So we're going to see Uranian headlines, breakthroughs, as well as unsettling news just out of the blue this coming week. Just know that that's going to happen. We're going to see that. And it could be natural disasters. Now, I just want to share a little bit about Japan. You may have also seen a lot of headlines about a prediction for today in Japan to have a major, probably earthquake that would lead to a tsunami. Now, there was this prediction made in the 1990s by a creative artist. She made lots of predictions, and most of her predictions didn't come true, but because one particular prediction did, it's what's causing a little bit of panic in Japan. And coupled with the fact that they've had over 1,000 tremors, earthquakes in Japan in the last few weeks, and that is definitely causing panic. Tourism dropped for this week. People canceled their plans because they started hearing about these predictions. I mean, yeah, I only heard about these predictions a couple of weeks ago. So if people were planning on going to Japan and all of a sudden heard all these predictions of a major tsunami, a lot of people canceled their plans. So there's a bit of a panic going on. So the only other prediction that actually came true is, I believe the date is March 5th, 2011. And that was the date of the I believe it was an earthquake off the coast of Japan that caused the tsunami. The Fukushima nuclear plant, power plant, that was inundated, and there was tremendous devastation on part of the coast of Japan. So that prediction actually was the exact date that she predicted. So that is what's causing all this concern today. And so we will see. And, all the people in that area of the world sending light and love in case that does happen. But Uranus is not, it's almost like you can't predict Uranus. Uranus is to expect the unexpected. So I really don't believe that will happen today. I mean, maybe something soon, but we will see. And so natural disasters are something that basically Uranus moving into Gemini is unchained. It was kind of chained when it was in Taurus. So it's unleashed. But Uranus in Gemini, so Uranus rules things like technology, scientific discoveries, the people, rather than the power and the government. It focuses on rebellion and revolution. Also, like I said, natural disasters. And being in Gemini, Gemini is about language and communication and air travel, our local communities. So there's going to be, as we've already seen, some amazing major activity with AI over the next 7 years, and that is totally to be expected. But I also see that there's going to be major discoveries in the realm of the nature of consciousness. And because of quantum physics and its discoveries are going to really amp up. And quantum physics is really kind of the bridge between science and spirituality. So I think that is going to be more evident as we go through these next 7 years for sure. And that I think is extremely exciting, and we'll look forward to seeing. Okay, so all of this that I've gone through is quite, it sounds really overwhelming. And what I want to also say is that there is this beautiful, beautiful supportive energy with Jupiter having moved into the sign of Cancer. So Jupiter is the planet that is most benefic. It's benevolent. It bestows blessings. And Jupiter is exalted in Cancer, meaning that it can work its magic and be supportive, its compassion and love and nurturing for all of us. So being mindful of where these planets are in your birth chart can help you tune into how can I work with this energy? What in my life is going to, okay, Marla. So you've got Jupiter, I think you said your rising sign. Yes, you're a Cancer Leo cusp. So you've got Jupiter in the 12th house. And I'm not going to get into specifics for your chart, but yes, there's this. So the 12th house is about spirituality, deepening your connection with spirit, and your life path is going to be very important. So yeah, wherever Jupiter is in your chart, in whatever house it's in whatever area of life, it's going to bestow blessings. So it's Jupiter's presence here is going to really support us all through this journey right now. And also, there's another really important, wonderful uh, support in the sky, planetary alignment in the sky that's going to help us through this. And that is the fact that the planets, those outer planets, are all, most of them are in a beneficial aspect to each other. So they're in sextiles and trines, which are all, softening, more yin, easier connections. You've probably heard of squares and oppositions. As you can imagine, that's more challenging and difficult. So that those uh, sextiles and trines really soften the energy. So those are really helping us as well. So just some words of advice going through these next few months, and especially July. Well, really, always in our lives, is to remember that these outer events that we're seeing are a reflection of our inner world. And of course, our outer reality, what's going on in our personal lives, are a reflection of what's going on in our inner lives. When, collective events are a reflection of what's going on collectively in our inner human realm. So when we feel ourselves getting triggered in a personal way or with what's going on in the outer world, if we go into anger, fear, resentment, frustration, anxiety, those are all lower vibration emotions. And those events are happening in a lower vibration consciousness. So what we're doing is we're feeding that energy. We're fueling that energy. And you might go, but Maureen, how can I not respond in that way? And hey, I'm a human. I go there too, more often than I care to admit. But I have to remind myself to breathe it out, to get into a point of stillness, and to not feel those emotions, to kind of release those emotions. And I know it sounds like, oh, you're in denial if you're not angry or fearful or anxious about what's going on. No, that's not denial. Or you're uncaring about what's going on with people in the world, in war zones, in our own country. No. Or you may feel guilty, because if you feel good, how can you be a spiritual person walking this planet when there's so much chaos, so much grief and death and suppression and all those occurrences? No. I just want to say happy birthday to the Dalai Lama, who is 90 today. Today is his birthday. He's a Cancerian. It's looking to people like him that can help us realize the right balance, striking a balance between care and compassion and not being caught up in those lower based emotions. So it's being able to see what's occurring, tap into the news, but not getting caught up in those emotions and not getting our emotions entangled tangled with all of that. So it's to, as I've been talking about, stepping outside, kind of being the observer of what's going on from kind of a higher perch. So there's a really wonderful quote from Salman Rushdie, and I'm going to paraphrase it perhaps, but it's only the only ones to see the picture are the ones who step outside the frame. Really interesting. So we're being asked to be an observer, being able to know what's going on in the world, be knowledgeable, but not getting our emotions swept away. Inner peace is what we can strive for in these moments, even if it's just little moments. Like many of us are empaths, right? Just sensitive, and some of us highly sensitive to our environments. So I'm typically a very grounded person. I'm a Leo, but I have a lot of Virgo in me, and I'm pretty practical and grounded. And of course, I try to walk my talk, right? So I was going about my day, doing my things, and all of a sudden, it was Friday morning. I'm in a parking lot, and suddenly I felt like I got hit by this grief. I was just like, why do I feel so sad? I mean, I could have just broke out in tears if I allowed myself to. But part of me got really curious. I was like, why? Why did all of a sudden I just feel anxious and filled with this grief? And it was just, I just had to go, all right, get back, get back, get back. And I realized there was nothing in my life, thankfully, gratefully, that put me in that spot at that moment. But I was just kind of feeling the heaviness around me. So recognize when you get into that place, is it me? Is it something personal in my life that put me in that feeling? Or is it something that I'm picking up? So being able to witness that, come back, and like I like to think about like coming back into alignment, and I visualize like we're living out here picking up all this stuff, but it's like just coming back into the central core of alignment, being able to breathe from this space, allow that energy to just move through us and out and not hold it in. One of my beloved feng shui teachers uh, gave like another visual for that. It's like, you know, the mandala in Tibetan Buddhism, and many cultures have this mandala. Being able to visualize ourselves as the center of the mandala, holding the space where everything is around us. Being able to hold that stability and resilience. Holding that space so that others can witness that and drop into that space. I realize we're a little over here, so I just want to end with, we are not to look for the heroes around us because no one is here personally or collectively. There's no Superman that's going to swoop in and save us, because we are the heroes. Each one of us stepping into a more authentic path with that stillness and resilience. And yes, none of us are beyond what's going on this planet right now. We're all living in the soup. We all get caught up at some level, but just bringing ourselves back. We get caught up, bring ourselves back. That's all we can do right now. Just want to say that we're really rocking it. Okay, we're really killing it, and we will move through this. The more of us that recall moving back into that center and have love and compassion, not fueling the fear and anxiety, but fueling love, inner peace, we will move through this in the most direct path. So thank you all for joining me. It's such a pleasure to do these updates because it reminds me to be in that place of stillness. So have the best day, everybody, and many light and blessings to you all.